Let's try that again.
The sound bites.
Go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
And if I can't sell them on, hey, don't do that, I can instill fear by suggesting that once it gets past us, someone else will take them down for this.
For years.
I've never even heard that quote. There we go. I never even heard that quote. Let me run that back again. I ain't never heard that one.
If I can't sell them on, hey, don't do that, I can instill fear by suggesting that once it gets past us, someone else will take them down for this.
For years.
I can instill fear. But they aren't forcing anything, right? They aren't forcing anything. Make sure y'all hit the like button.
Kim Belair and Sweet Baby Inc. called it branding. Cheeky, disruptive, harmless, right? But today, we're done pretending.
Hold on.
Because now,
hold on. Boy, she got that wagon. Y'all see that?
now we have.
No. Back that thing up. Back that thing up. Literally. Back it up. Kim got that wagon. Look at that. Look at that curve. Ooh. I wish she wasn't with Sweet Baby Inc. I wish. Because holy, she got that wagon. Let's continue.
Now we have the receipts. A leaked clip from a real internal discussion where Sweet Baby Inc. didn't advise, they pushed again and again until the studio broke. This isn't narrative design, it's narrative domination. And this time, no spin can save them. Hello. What is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I'm joined by my lovely wife.
Writing Raven.
Welcome back to the channel.
Before we jump in, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because when we say you'll want to be here for the next one, we mean it.
Today's leak isn't theory. It isn't out of context. This is Sweet Baby Inc. admitting on camera that they wore a game studio down on purpose. You know the quotes. Terrify your marketing team, instill fear. People said it was just Kim being spicy.
But this time, it's not Kim. It's Cameron Wild, Sweet Baby's narrative designer, Kim's ally, Kim's employee, and the same person who once said, "I'm here to burn it all down." Totally normal, healthy consulting energy, right?
But this time, it's not branding. It's not cheeky. In this leaked clip, Cameron admits to hammering a studio again and again and again until they caved.
Not persuaded, not enlightened, broken.
This isn't narrative guidance. This is brute force submission. And once you hear it, you'll realize this isn't an exception. It's the playbook.
Roll the clip.
Definitely, there have been moments. I can think of one in.
First of all, nigga, Jesus Christ.
My leg!
Oh my God! What is up with all the, like, is it me? Are the only people that get hired? I'm sorry, y'all. Is it me? Or is it that the only people that ever get hired at companies like this are booty bandits? Okay? Let me get close to y'all. I kid you not. I kid you not. The only people that get hired at places like this are booty bandits. Make sure y'all hit the like button, man. Let's get back into it. It's not him. I know you freaky frogs out there. Damn, y'all got me talking like this. Y'all got me talking like this nigga Cater, man.
Particular, don't need to get into the specifics of the game, but it was a situation where the identity of the characters was fairly important that we get it right. And in this situation, we actually had to have a more heart-to-heart, really foundational conversation about these are some of the experiences that you are necessarily going to invoke, or some of the messages that you are going to invoke, some of the implications you are going to invoke, regardless of whether you want to or not. It's not a question of like, are you doing it well, or are you doing it badly? It's just, it's there. And so here are the options for how that could go. And this was a pretty, I would say, like, unique situation where they were willing to take days of their time to talk with us about it. And I think in that situation, it was, as a marginalized person, I felt making myself very vulnerable, and being brutally honest of just like, hey, I think what you're doing is not cool. And then being met with a less than optimal response to that, and then having to say it again, and then again and again. What I would take out of that, what I have taken out of that in hindsight, is know where your personal and professional limit is, choose your battles, decide as much as you can which hills you're willing to die on and which, maybe you would rather not. I think that really will serve you well, and get very specific about your priorities. Be willing to let certain things go, maybe, but that comes with experience. It's not something that I knew in the moment. I think in hindsight, I will say I wish I had been a little less vulnerable. And so that is a very valuable piece of information that I now have about myself.
Let's break this down.
Okay. I gotta be honest. I was hoping for a little bit more juice than that. Gotta be honest. Can't even grift. That's not the smoking gun I was hoping for. However, it does lend credence to the things that we've been talking about when it comes to Sweet Baby Inc. from the jump. These are people who are trying to tell you that, hey, we're not here to force video game studios to do anything. Yet, I think that quote from the beginning, that was my first time hearing that. I think that quote was more juicy than what I just heard. Instill fear? She's literally admitted to extorting these studios twice. You literally do everything that we say you do. You literally do everything that we say you do. And his comments is like, pick and choose your battles, but like, do you really pick and choose your battles? I'm gonna let them continue though.
That wasn't hyperbole. That wasn't a joke. That wasn't taken out of context.
That was Cameron Wild describing how they kept pressing a studio again and again and again until the studio gave up.
They didn't collaborate. They didn't find middle ground. The studio just surrendered.
They even said the first response was less than optimal. So instead of respecting that, they went harder.
And when pushing didn't work fast enough, they got emotional. Not to connect, but to guilt, to manipulate.
Then Cameron said, I wish I had been less vulnerable. Not because they went too far, but because they resent needing to.
They didn't want dialogue, they wanted obedience, and they were pissed it took effort to get it.
And then came the kicker. People need to be willing to let things go. But they weren't talking about themselves, they were talking about the devs.
So let's call this what it is. Sweet Baby...
They wasn't talking about themselves. I don't know why y'all are saying they. This is clearly a he. He wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the devs. Okay. I mean, based on what I heard, I thought he was referring to himself. He said you have to pick and choose your battle. Like I'm listening to this as him talking to others about how they go about their consulting agenda. And I thought that he was referring to himself when he says you have to pick and choose your battles. But if they're talking about the studio and them being the ones to let it go, well, goddamn. So I'm the one making the game, right? I'm the one making the game. Old Man Cat says, dude, that is a girl. Huh? Nah, no, sir. No. Sir, this is a boy. This is a boy. Nah, this is a boy. You said you're looking at her LinkedIn? Nah, cuz. Nah. This is a boy. There's no fucking way. Nah. What's his name? I heard his name was Cameron. What is his name? Nah, cuz this is a boy. There's no way. Nah. It's no. Hold on. Hold on, gang. Hold on. We got to pause the video. Nah. Ain't no way. What's his name? Cameron what? What's the LinkedIn pro? Cameron. Co-founder. Nope. That's not it either. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm going to go back to the video and then I'm going to let Old Man Cad find it. Cause I don't see it, bro. That's got to be a man, bro. There's no way. It's no possible way. All right, so let's get back to where they were.
Harder.
And when pushing didn't work fast enough, they got emotional. Not to connect, but to guilt, to manipulate.
Then Cameron said, I wish I had been less vulnerable. Not because they went too far, but because they resent needing to.
They didn't want dialogue, they wanted obedience, and they were pissed it took effort to get it.
And then came the kicker. People need to be willing to let things go. But they weren't talking about themselves, they were talking about the devs.
So let's call this what it is. Sweet Baby Inc. says they're collaborators. But when studios push back, they pressure, they push, and they break you down.
And now they've admitted it. In their own words, no spin, no plausible deniability.
So the next time Sweet Baby Inc. smiles at the camera and says,
I'm the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., which, contrary to popular belief, is not a DEI company, but a narrative development company.
remember this moment.
Because what they call help...
That is such a disingenuous comment. We're not a DEI company. We're a narrative consulting company. Do you think we're slow? You're a narrative consulting company that prioritizes diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like, who do you think you're talking to? I think you think you're talking to some of those black kids that are graduating, reading at a second grade level in the inner cities. Because no way you think you're talking to the reasonable people. Okay, Old Man Cad says, I was wrong, sorry. A Sweet Baby Inc. employee named Cameron Wild, who claims to be non-binary, admitted that his goal is burning the games industry to the ground. Yeah, I was finna say, bro, that is a man. Woo. If you was a woman looking like that, man, your existence is sad. I know it's sad. No way. That's a man. But yeah, though, going back to Kim Belair's comment, we're not a DEI company. Like, who do you think you're talking to? The non-binary thing was wet through it. Yeah, I feel you, bro. It's hard out here. Let's continue.
Emotional pressure. It was brute force narrative control. It was breaking down the developers until they gave in.
This confirms everything we've warned you about. The fear, the manipulation, the coercive tactics, and the industry silence that lets it thrive.
But not anymore. You've heard it. They can't walk it back. And they can't pretend we imagined it.
So share it, clip it, blow it up.
Because the louder this gets, the harder it becomes for them to hide behind that smile.
And if you work in games, ask yourself, are you telling your story or are they?
Sweet Baby doesn't do what gamers think it does?
Well, now, that's verifiably false.
And then being met with a less than optimal response to that, and then having to say it again, and then again and again, and then having to say it again, and then again and again.
And there you have it. There you have it. So, yeah, I mean, I see it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely forcing themselves onto people. I just find it interesting how quickly they will, like, literally gaslight you, lie to your face, tell you that what your eyes and ears are seeing and hearing isn't what they're seeing and hearing. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me. You literally hear them say it. Kim Belair has talked about extorting companies twice on camera with impunity. We're not a DEI company. Bitch, you better be glad your ass is thick as goddamn peanut butter, because I would eviscerate you. But I'm a simp, okay? I'm a simp. And it's really hard for me to eviscerate attractive women. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why I'm the only person Melanie Mac did not block, okay? I ain't shit. I already know I ain't shit. I know it. I absolutely positively know it. But it is what it is. All right, let's move on. All right, what y'all talking about in these comments, man? LinkedIn profile is set to private now. Makes sense. It's all good, bro. It's hard out here. I live in Atlanta, so it's hard to tell nowadays. But I knew that was a man. Fuck that. Imagine if that was actually a biological woman and she came up to you in a club looking and sounding like that, I might blow my own brains out. So, there's that. All right. Let's move on. What we got next?
Oh, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you,